Hey guys, this is Vlad. The thing you guys have been requesting from me the most has been PvP content. Either videos of me fighting, videos of me teaching how to fight, and so on and so forth so people can get better. Well, yesterday I fought a really good YouTuber named Riku the Best, better than the rest, aka the Dark Knight. And we had some really good fights. He's probably one of the best players among YouTubers. So you're going to get to see some high skill level. And I figure I would kind of walk through my decision making and maybe some tricks that I do, or why I do what I do. So hopefully you guys can copy me and use some of my tricks as your own. So we plan to use some of the newer characters. So I'm going to bring out some new hybrids, and I'm sure in this fight he brings out 16. So here we go. And I'm not going to be able to really pause the fight, so I'm just going to have to talk over it. So if you guys want to know what's going on, pay attention. This dude takes forever to pick sometimes, I swear.
Right. Here I go.
Alright, so the first thing in my mind is I see that he has a purple out, but if I switch in yellow, he's probably going to switch in red right after, which is exactly what happened. So I was kind of ready for that, and was planning on making sure I can switch over to Super Saiyan Trunks quickly if I needed to. Now in the beginning of the fight, I'm actually not that concerned about getting type advantage, just because it's way more important to collect Dragon Balls to be the first one to get the Rising Rush and make the fight 3 versus 2 as quickly as possible. So it's such a strong advantage. So right now, kind of what I'm thinking is, even if I have to hit against type advantage, I'm okay with that because every one of my cards in my hand has a Dragon Ball on it, and I just want to make sure I use as many cards as possible. So he's being patient. So usually when people are being patient, you kind of want to be careful with how you bait, because they're going to be ready for it. So it is pretty obvious, just switch to type advantage for the Rising Rush. Now one thing when you switch characters for the Rising Rush, and I did it there, is you always want to forward dash before you do it. So that way when you swap and start the Rising Rush, you have only a very short amount of time to switch characters once they see that you switch. So that time he wasn't able to do it, even though I'm sure he was probably waiting to switch. So that was some lag there. As you can see, I picked a card and we both kind of froze for a second. Not trying to make an excuse or anything, but that's why, that's just saying that's why it looked like that. So the next thing I'm thinking now is his purple's out of there, and my yellow is weak to one of his characters. So I'm thinking that if I have to sacrifice someone, I'm really going to consider dropping Kid Trunks. Like if I'm about to get hit by Rising Rush and have a choice, that's who I'm going to throw in the way. Man, 16 so tanky. I mean, Gohan hits so hard, and I landed a full combo and he barely took damage. So right now I switched to Kid Trunks instead of Gohan for, like I was saying, if he gets hit and he dies, I don't really care. He already served his purpose. What I want to do is start a combo with him so I can switch to Gohan and guarantee that Gohan hits without getting hit. That's how I'm out of Rising Rush, so I just did that to close out the fight. The reason I didn't just use a special and use a Rising Rush, even though means he has a chance to survive it, is 16 he's so tanky. I have no idea if Gohan could even kill him with a blue card special despite type advantage. So I just used the Rising Rush to guarantee the kill as long as he doesn't guess. So before I go on, I know I said the better team than 16, 17 Cell is 16, 17, 18. I still think that, but I just I was trying out the Cell version and didn't switch back, and we were already in the lobby, so I couldn't go back and make a team with 18, so I didn't have one on hand. Sorry about that. Before people yell at me, you said 18's better.
A Saiyan.
So my next thought too is I was kind of waiting for that swap. I knew he'd switch to advantage, so I was sitting on that with Cell in the special, be able to do a one shot, and then planning also to get Cell out quickly in case he switches to Piccolo. But if possible, I would have liked to combo with Cell to use his blast cards because his blast is infinitely better than 16's blast.
Did we get a little over?
So the thing about Piccolo is even though he can remove type advantage, he still can take a lot of damage in a neutral matchup because his defense is not all that. So when I see him, I really, as long as I don't have my red in, I'm fine doing a neutral damage. And same thing happened here as the beginning of the fight. I used 17 to bait out his Super Vegeta and then swap to Cell for big damage. So the reason I didn't Rising Rush his Piccolo is because I expected that. I expected if I would have hit Rising Rush with 16, he would have tanked it with Gohan, and it would have been a really weak Rising Rush with 3 blast cards and 16's terrible blast attack. So I figured that I would wait for him to swap to Gohan and then swap in my own purple to do more damage on the Rising Rush.
Finish this now. Now. Too slow. Now. Darn.
So now that I took his yellow out, kind of as I said before, now yellow's counter red is much less valuable to me because he's weak to blue. So if I would have had to sacrifice someone, I would have been okay sacrificing Cell, and that's why I was using Cell there until I got going. And at this point, I knew I could just self-destruct him, but I wanted to set up with the combo so it would look cooler. So self-destruct is pretty much a guaranteed kill on blue, even if they're at full health. It doesn't matter, you can just take out their blue anytime. I guess anytime after the 25 counts you need to activate the main ability. And here's the team I used from the previous video. I was saying that team that seems pretty strong. I wanted to use it in PvP and kind of show how it works out. So I kind of hesitated picking what order. So I'll tell you what usually happens with 2-color teams. So what I'm looking at is I'm guessing whether he's going to bring his yellow. If I think he's going to bring his yellow, I'm going to want to put Gohan third. Because if I start with Gohan, he's going to put in his yellow and chase him out. And then I'll switch to 16 and he'll get chased out. And then I'll end up fighting with 17. And I'd rather do that the reverse version. So in this time, I guessed that he wasn't going to bring that yellow first form cell. But ended up making a mistake. So you'll see what I was talking about in action. See, so I know he's going to switch to yellow right away. So I'll switch to 16, and I expect he will quickly switch to 17. And then I swap to my 17 and end up fighting with the third character. And that's pretty much the pattern that always happens with double color. If they have the counter color, whoever the third is who you end up fighting with. So I saw a couple times he dropped combos when I wasn't expecting him to. So I missed the advantage, and that's just me being lazy, and that's something I shouldn't be doing. But there you go. Now, same thing I was talking about when you switch before the Rising Rush. You always want to forward dash, so that way he has very little time to switch characters before he gets hit. So now in this team, I've already taken out the yellow. So now what I'm thinking about is I'm going to start looking for opportunities to self-destruct and just buff Gohan, because at that point that would just wipe the rest of his team.
Don't waste your energy.
So this was actually really bad news, because he could have Rising Rushed my 16 and taken him out before I had a chance to self-destruct and give that a huge buff. But I got lucky and managed to guess his Rising Rush, so I had a chance to self-destruct on him.
There is no other choice now. It's over.
I'm your opponent now.
So at that point you can see Gohan's ki meter. It's just shot up, and Gohan's going to start doing some crazy stuff. Now the only problem is I actually start lagging a little bit right here. You see that? Where it really messed up my combo, so I couldn't do the infinite combo as well as I would have liked to, because I didn't get to draw as many cards. If I would have been able to draw another strike card, I would have kept going and been Annihilation. But that little bit, just that tiny bit of lag really messes up a combo sometimes. And that right there is why 17 is on the team. Even if Gohan starts getting beat up, maybe if he would have Rising Rushed or something, doesn't really matter, because 17 is such a strong tank. You can make sure Gohan stays alive to do all your damage for you. Right there I tried to catch him off guard, see if I catch him vanishing into it, but he was smart and avoided it.
Darn.
Well, up here we're asking how to do that key forward cancel to a strike card or something. There, that little bit of lag messed up my combo again. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Pretty much all you do after you start shooting a Ki Blast, you just swipe forward. And if you want to vanish out of it, you swipe vanish. If you want to do a card, you have to do a slight pause for your character to stop what he's doing and turn to face the opponent before you do the next card or tap. If you chain him right after, then the strike card or taps will go in the exact same direction as the blast you shot. So you will miss. So you got to do a little wait. So those were the fights. I hope my commentary was a little helpful. I hope that was some fun fights to watch. Going to be probably doing more of these against good players and walking you through what I'm thinking about. If you like the video and you want to see more, please subscribe below or follow me on Twitter. I'll announce a lot of these fights. And see you later.